Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, a show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd. We have football tomorrow. Football is officially back. Week 1 is here. I get to talk about the actual games this week instead of just hypothesizing. That's not a word, but regardless, football is back. Week 1 is back. College football is back. This is going to be a very, very good episode. I'm excited to talk about these Week 1 matchups. This episode will be the Week 1 preview. Talk about all the matchups, NFL Weekly Update, of course, because, of course, there's a lot of things happening still, even the eve before the NFL season, I guess we can say. And because college football is back, too, I will be doing the college football highlights from Week 1. Try to cover on the top stories anyways, but, busy day. Busy day for me anyways. I had orientation at my new school at MCFT. It went really well. I am dramatically older than most kids. See, this is my thing. Actually, I'll save this to the end. I'll talk about orientation and how things are going and blah, blah, blah. Save that for the end. If you want to stick around and listen, great. Thank you. I guess let's just get right into the college football highlights, then NFL Weekly Update, then all of the Week 1 games. So starting off with the Week 1 college football highlights. Big start to the college football season. Number 1, Texas versus reigning national champion, number 3, Ohio State. And Arch and Texas lay a goose egg for 3 quarters. First time in 11 years they were held scoreless for the first 3 quarters. Arch didn't look great after all the generational talk. He's the next first overall pick. Maybe let's pump the brakes. This was his first road game in general. It was his first start against an actual college football team, and it was on the road against the defending national champions. I think let's just calm down about Arch and let's let him develop. Let's see where it goes. No, so many immediate reactions now. Down goes number 8, Bama, as Thomas Castellanos and Florida State win 31-17. Kalen DeBoer, in his first 14 games as Alabama's head coach, has lost to 4 unranked opponents. Nick Saban has lost 4 games to unranked opponents in 230 games. Not going well for Kalen DeBoer and Bama. They got their shit kicked in. Ohio State sophomore kicker Kyle Conradi nails a 63-yarder. Yes, a 63-yard field goal in college. That man has a bright future in the NFL. Jake Retzlaff, the former BYU quarterback, after getting kicked off BYU for having sex, ran back a 69-yard rushing TD in a big win for Tulane. Army loses to Tarleton State. Yes, that's a real place. Army paid them $250,000 to play them, and Tarleton State beat them. The game went to overtime, and unfortunately for Army, their kicker missed the game winner in the fourth quarter, and then also missed a 35-yarder in overtime. Gotta make those. Pudge the Cat, Bowling Green's animal mascot. Chef's kiss, amazing. Central Arkansas has a defensive back named Dude Person. Yeah, Dude Person. Dylan Raiola in Nebraska win 20-17 versus Cincinnati in Arrowhead Stadium. If you don't know Dylan Raiola, he does Patrick Mahomes cosplay every single day of his life. And now it's getting to a point where, you're too old. You're now in your, early 20s where you shouldn't be. Maybe, I don't know. It's weird. He's a good quarterback, but stop the cosplaying with Pat Mahomes, maybe. And then finally here, Bill Belichick in his college football debut loses to TCU 48-14. 24-year-old Max Johnson had to step in during the game. He basically had Alex Smith surgery on his leg. It was almost amputation. Good for him that he's playing college football. Fun fact about that though, Max Johnson, same old age as Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. those are the week 1 college football highlights. I think that was probably too long to clip out, so I'll try to cut that down for next week. But I guess let's just get right into the NFL Weekly Update. Lots obviously happening over the last week. Biggest news, Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. That's it. Yep, I'm as shocked as you. That is all it took for generational pass rusher in Micah Parsons. I'll start on the Packer side of things because it's they made the big move. Parsons immediately signs a 4-year, $188 million extension. I think making his AAV 47 a year. I think I read with taxes in Wisconsin, it comes down to 42. Or I think 43, maybe like that. So like still more than what Jerry was offering with no state income tax in Texas. And with Micah Parsons playing on his like 5th year of his rookie contract, obviously the AAV, if you include the last year of his rookie deal, does come down to around 43, 42 AAV instead. So yeah, he reset the market obviously, and it's crazy, but the Green Bay Packers got Micah Parsons. And that is all that matters really about this trade. Kenny Clark is a good player. The 2 first-round picks, maybe they can be Micah Parsons. I doubt it. Look, I feel like the Packers are going to be picking in the late 20s these next 2 drafts. But what a pickup from the Packers. I mean, I've been saying it, a generational pass rusher. And people have been like, oh, Micah Parsons, he's good. But like, okay, he's not like, oh, like ruin your cap type. It's like, yes, he is. Since he's been in the league, he has led all edge rushers in pressure. Since he's been in the league, he's been in the Defensive Player of the Year running basically every single year up until last year because he was injured. And he's had 12 plus sacks in his first 4 seasons. You want to know the only other player in NFL history to do that? Reggie White. You want to know who got traded to the Packers? Reggie White. You want to know who won a Super Bowl that year with them? The Packers. That was the other thing, too. Each QB in their 27-year-old season, so Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. Brett Favre's team traded for Reggie White. They go on to win the Super Bowl in his age 27 year. Aaron Rodgers, they trade for Charles Woodson. They win a Super Bowl that year. Jordan Love's 27. They trade for Micah Parsons. I guess we'll see. This Packers defense now, I don't care really how iffy their secondary looks. I mean, mainly the corners anyways. Micah Parsons is there. Micah Parsons will get after the quarterback. He will help out in the run game. Him and Rashawn Gary, that's going to be a great duo. I can't say enough good thing about the Packers at this point. The Packers just seemingly find a way to always rebuild, always like the fact that they've traded for 3 Hall of Fame players now. And yes, Micah Parsons will probably be a Hall of Fame player at the end of the day. It's absolutely nuts. And the Packers, I talked about, I think last week, I gave out my Super Bowl predictions. The Packers are now the team that I think is going to be in the NFC Championship game, probably in the Super Bowl. Again, I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl. There's a lot of good teams out there, but I'm very high on the Packers now going into this year. The Cowboys on the other side of it. I don't know really where to start with this. Let's start off with Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is a good player, a good defensive tackle. He's been very quietly good throughout his entire tenure with Green Bay. Last year was kind of his first down year. He is turning 30 this season. But a good run-stuffing defensive tackle, and that's something that the Cowboys have needed for a while, is they're terrible against the run. Mozzie Smith, first-round pick from a few years ago, did not work out. Kenny Clark will work out, and I'm sure that run defense will be better, but will the defense be better? Absolutely not, because now they're relying on Dante Fowler, who had a career year in year 10 for him. I don't know if he's going to, again, having a career year in year 10, that's fantastic. I don't know if you can carry out that same kind of production going further into your 30s, but either way, maybe. Then they have 2 young pass rushers in Marshawn Nealand, who they drafted last year, who I think tore his ACL. So he's back now. And then Donovan Ezeraku, who they also drafted in the second round. They have those 2 guys. So, like, yeah, if Dante Fowler continues to play some of the best football of his career into his 30s and one of these two young guys is, like, an immediate contributor, maybe the defense can be, not, I won't say better because it's still Micah Parsons, but, like, can still be around kind of the same level of where they've been the last few years. With all that to say, their defense really hasn't been that good the last few years, especially when Micah Parsons hasn't been playing. Kenny Clark's a good player, but I've seen too many Cowboys fans being like, oh, Micah Parsons not worth it at that number. You're all idiots if you think that. The cap is fake anyways. Money is fake in general. You pay guys like Micah Parsons. You pay one-of-one talents like Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is a weirdo off the field, but regardless, you gotta pay the man because he's so good at football. Jerry Jones only getting an aging defensive tackle and 2 first-round picks, not enough. Like, in any shape or like way you put this, that's not enough for Micah Parsons. And the fact that Green Bay was the one that was able to make that deal, incredible in my mind that's all it took. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what these draft picks turn into. But at the end of the day, I think it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of Cowboys fans. Have anything else on the Cowboys side of that? Not really, and this is going to be a longer episode, so we'll just continue on here. Another big extension here, Kyle Hamilton, a 4-year, $100.4 million deal, 82 of that guaranteed, highest paid safety in league history, and highest paid league safety by quite a bit now, and obviously this is completely deserved. Kyle Hamilton is a complete stud on every facet of the defense. And again, the way that the cap is going, everything's going up, someone's going to have to beat that Kyle Hamilton number who's not better than Kyle Hamilton. So, and the other thing that was crazy about that deal, $82 million guaranteed, that's the most guaranteed money ever given out to a safety as well, beating the former mark by like $40 million or something like that. Kyle Hamilton's an absolute stud, one of the best safeties in the league. Happy he's on my fantasy team this year. Good for Baltimore for paying their guys. Rashee Rice, after some speculation of what's going to happen with the suspension, he's going to play the first month of the season, he accepted a 6-game suspension from the league, and it seems like he's fine with that, because I think he doesn't do this if he doesn't think that he's getting a lower suspension from the arbitrator, and I think if anything, the arbitrator would have been like, we're going to give you a couple more games than just the 6 games, but 6 games is 6 games. He'll miss the start of the season. He'll be on to the back half, but I'm trying to remember who the Chiefs play, and I did this before. They play the Chargers, they play the Ravens, this isn't in order. Chargers, Ravens, Eagles, Giants, and another good team. And I guess it was 6. Either way, I think with the Chiefs' schedule, wouldn't shock me if they have a losing record or they're 3-3. Again, it's the Chiefs, and maybe my expectations are lower than they should be because it's the Chiefs, but 6 games is relatively fair. I think it should have been maybe a little bit more, but 6 games is objectively fair based off what the NFL has done in the past, because they're not good at giving out player suspensions. So, is what it is. With all that newfound Micah Parsons money, Jerry Jones decides to pay Deron Bland a 4-year, $90 million extension, making him one of the highest paid DBs in the league. Does he deserve it? No. Is he a nice story going from like small college to all of a sudden he had that terrific year 2 years ago where he had like 6 pick sixes, broke the record, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, great story, great career, whatever. I don't think Deron Bland is that good. I don't think Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs are a good corner duo. They're both ball hawks. They both want to make the flashy play instead of just playing sound defense, and I don't have a lot of faith in that secondary, especially if there's no pass rush getting after the quarterback. Again, needed to spend the money, but I also saw Cowboys fans being like, well, we couldn't pay Micah Parsons, we couldn't pay Micah Parsons, Deron Bland, and Kenny Clark, George Pickens or whatever, so now that we got rid of Micah Parsons, we can pay Deron Bland and George Pickens, and now we have Kenny Clark, and it's like, great, none of that matters. Micah Parsons, those 3 guys combined. Simple as that. Good for Deron Bland for getting that money, though. I think I might have talked about this last week, but Caleb McGarry has gone on IR for the Falcons. I think I might have mentioned he was banged up, but he's officially on IR, out for the season. Oh, I might have mentioned this. Either way, Caleb McGarry out for the season, not good for the Falcons. I'm already not high on the Falcons whatsoever. Now they're missing Michael Penix's blindside protector because he's a lefty. I definitely did do this talk. Either way, not high on the Falcons before, definitely not high on them now. Adjust your fantasy rankings accordingly, I guess. We have a trade. Adam Thielen and a conditional 26 7th and a 2027 5th traded to the Vikings for a 26 5th and a 2027 4th. The fact that they got a 4th round pick for old man Adam Thielen, great job by the Panthers in some aspects. I'll spend more time on the Viking side. The Vikings are desperate at wide receiver right now. Justin Jefferson's banged up a little bit going into week 1. He's going to play. Jordan Addison has his 3-game suspension. I think Jalen Naylor is also banged up. So Adam Thielen's going to go in and probably be their wide receiver 2, definitely 3. Either way, good vet depth for this Vikings room. Did they pay a little bit of a price for it? Sure, but at the end of the day, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the Vikings GM, doesn't seem like he knows how to draft very well, so giving away these picks, who cares? On the Panther side of it, I was like, oh, this is fine. They have Jalen Coker. They'll be good. He'll just replace Adam Thielen, and then all of a sudden, Jalen Coker goes on IR with a quad injury, will be out for at least the first 4 games of the season. That absolutely stinks. The Panthers then re-signed Hunter Renfrow to basically play that slot position role, but Jalen Coker was someone who I was actually very, very excited about. I thought he could be the wide receiver 2 on this Panthers team, obviously with Ted McMillan being the number 1. Xavier Leggett will figure out whatever his role is if he can play actual football and not just be like a better athlete than everyone on the field. I guess we'll see. No Coker for the first month of the season, potentially more. Obviously sucks, and a quad injury especially, where you just kind of have to rest that and just hope it gets better. And I'm not a doctor, so obviously there's probably ways to speed up the process and things to do, but whatever. Hunter Renfrow back. He was with them. They cut him. Now he's back. I think this was all kind of part of the plan. Obviously Jalen Coker going on IR, not part of the plan, but regardless. And speaking of the Panthers, their left tackle, I think he might play. Either way, one of their tackles, I don't know where Taylor Moden plays, and I don't know where Ike Ekwonu plays, but Ike Ekwonu had an appendectomy, and he still might play on Sunday, which is absolutely nuts. But the Panthers, who I had high hopes for, I'm now like, ooh, that's not a great start to their year injury-wise. Jabril Peppers, the Patriots safety, got released kind of out of nowhere. Didn't really play much in the preseason because I think that everyone around thought that, his roster spot is locked down. There was rumors about them trading Kyle Duggar away, and then all of a sudden it was Peppers' gut. I'm confused by it. Jabril Peppers is still a good starter for someone in this league. He hasn't been signed anywhere yet. The Patriots also released Kendrick Bourne, who asked to be released. I don't think he really had much of a room or much of a role in their wide receiver room, so he's looking to sign on just basically. He hasn't signed on anywhere, but he's looking for more of a prominent role, I guess you could say. Jalen Warren, the Steelers running back, gets a 2-year extension. Don't have the numbers on it, but Jalen Warren, good, I guess. Good for the Steelers for, again, just keeping a guy. Good for Jalen Warren for making those millions of dollars. Couple smaller signings here, too. Dalton Reisner signs with the Bengals. I honestly think that Dalton Reisner is probably the best interior offensive lineman the Bengals have had in Joe Burrow's entire tenure. And that's not saying a lot, because Dalton Reisner is just kind of a league average guard, but league average for the Bengals is oh my god, that's incredible for them. So good for the Bengals, I guess, that you improved your interior, but it's still Dalton Reisner at the end of the day, so did you really improve it? Marcus Valdes-Scantling signs with the 49ers. Obviously, the 49ers are in need for desperate help at the wide receiver position. MVS should provide some of that for the short time while their guys are looking to come back off of injury. Tim Patrick signs with the Jags. Good wide receiver, good do-it-all kind of receiver. He'll block for you, and I think that's something that Liam Cohen's scheme looks for, is blocking receivers. So Tim Patrick's a good one. I like Tim Patrick. If you know, you know. Cole Strange, the former first-round pick of the Patriots, signs with the Browns. The Browns obviously just needing offensive line help in general. I think that most of their offensive linemen are also on the last year of their deals too, so they just need people in the pipelines for potentially next year. But yeah, Cole Strange is on the Browns wearing number 69, so it's Strange and 69. Ha 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 ha. Kaiser White signs with the Titans to improve their linebacking core just a little bit. Kaiser White's been a starter for the Cardinals for the last few seasons. And then Gabe Davis reuniting back with the Bills. Sure, he was really good at catching Josh Allen deep balls, and that's about it. He had that one playoff game where he absolutely went off, but other than that, he's not very good. But that's a busy Bills receiver room, so we'll see who really comes away in that, and that is NFL Weekly Update. I'm making pretty good time here. And honestly, I think the Week 1 preview is going to be not short, obviously, but it'll be shorter just based off... I've already talked about all of these teams, not the game specifically, but either way, we'll get into it. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Eagles minus 8.5. Total set at 47.5. I also hate looking at these times and seeing 9:20 p.m. kickoff. Yikes. What's there to say in this one? The Eagles are going to win. I don't think it's that big of a thing for me to say. No Micah Parsons now for the Cowboys. Obviously, the Eagles' defense is still loaded with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis going into a contract year for him. Does that make sense? I think Jordan Davis is going into a contract year. And he's apparently in the best shape of his life, as many people are going into contract years. They reloaded on the edges. Their secondary is still strong. The offense is still the offense. There's not a lot of weak spots to pick out on the Eagles. And if I were to pick out a weak spot, it would be like last year. It would be the secondary, where last year was we don't know what Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are going to do. But this year, it's Adoree Jackson is apparently their other starting corner opposite Quinyon and Cooper in the slot. We'll see how that works. I like Adoree Jackson as an athlete and just a solid football player, but as a true starter for a secondary, I don't know at this point. And the Cowboys, again, I'm excited about their offense, but their offensive line is young and very inexperienced going against one of the best defensive lines in football. That just kind of sounds like a recipe for disaster. They don't have a run game. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue. That stinks. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Jalen Tolbert, there can be plays made by Dak and by this offense, and I think that they will have a really, really good passing attack, especially because their defense is going to be bad. They're going to be throwing the football a fuck ton this year. I already bet CD to lead the league in yards, and now that they traded Michael Parsons away, I feel more confident in that bet. So, we'll see. 8.5 is a big spread in an opener or whatever, but I also feel like the Cowboys are going to play kind of unmotivated, a little sloppy, just because they're going to be trading away your best player a week before the season is would be tough on any locker room. So I think the Cowboys are in for a very, very tough opening night matchup. We'll move over to Friday, where the Kansas City Chiefs play the LA Chargers. Chiefs minus 3.5, total set at 46.5. This game is getting played in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Second year in a row we're getting a Brazilian game. This It's not a toss-up to me. There's a reason why the Chiefs are favored. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been the Chiefs since Pat Mahomes has been there. They are very, very hard to beat. Regardless of how shitty they play, they usually come out on top one way or another. What I'm excited to watch in this matchup, I'm excited to see if this new offensive line, put that in air quotes, with Josh Simmons at left tackle and Kingsley Suamataia and at left guard, if that is a big difference maker. If Pat Mahomes actually has time in the pocket and not everything needs to be a dink and dunk, let's get the yak, make the safe throw. I want MVP Mahomes again. I want MVP Mahomes standing back in the pocket and being able to take a deep shot down to Xavier Worthy. I hope that we get that this year, because I miss when Patrick Mahomes is throwing for 4,500 yards in a season and 40-plus TDs. I miss that. What worries me about the Chiefs' offense is, again, they don't have a run game. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, they brought back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Elijah Mitchell. None of those names matter in the year 2025. So, worried about the Chiefs' lack of run game, but their passing attack could be much better. Travis Kelce, now engaged to Taylor Swift. Some people get in the best shape of their lives before their wedding. Travis Kelce is probably going to have his wedding next offseason, I imagine. So, getting in the best shape of your life, I don't know. Maybe it's an off-field distraction. We'll see. Chargers on the other side. I talked about Herbert being my MVP pick. I think that this is the year. He has the weapons around him. I think he has the run game, the offensive line. I'm still not sold on, obviously, because I was a lot higher on Mekhi Becton when he was at right guard, when Joe Alt was next to him, but now Joe Alt's on the left side because Rashawn Slater got hurt. But regardless, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Amarian Hampton, Najee Harris, they got dudes to make plays anyways, and that's something that Justin Herbert hasn't really had consistency over the last few years. Again, like Pat Mahomes, I want to see Herbert show off the big arm, make some big plays. He is athletic, run a little bit. I don't know. Chargers defense, on the other hand, this is where I think that the big disconnect in this game is. Chargers defense, I just flat out don't think is good. Like, barring big breakouts from Tuli Tuapolatu, I think that's how you say his name. Even bigger breakouts from like Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still. It's a fine defense. Last year they were like good, and it was mainly because of that secondary like playing so well. But I just don't see this Chargers offense being above league average, really, and I think that will be their downfall for them this year. Chiefs defense on the other side, I also don't really believe, but they have Chris Jones, they have Trent McDuffie, they have a lot of solid players across the board too. So I do think the Chiefs are going to win this one. Like a game in Brazil, though, it's basically a coin flip, but I will go with the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs. Into these Sunday games now. First one up here, Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Bucks minus 2.5, total set up 47.5. The Buccaneers are without Tristan Wirfs in this one. That is obviously a big injury for them. But on the other side, that Falcons pass rush is completely unproven. They got Leonard Floyd, who, shout out to Leonard Floyd, still doing his thing after, I don't know, I think he's been in the league for 10 years now at this point, but he's still doing his thing, still being productive. But like, if he's your best pass rusher, who it might not be. They drafted James Pierce Jr., they drafted Jalen Walker, who I've heard nothing about Jalen Walker. I've heard good things about James Pierce Jr. It seems like he's doing together. His first step is still elite, even going against NFL competition. Jalen Walker, I've heard absolutely nothing about. So even, oh no, this Bucs offensive line, it's hurt. I'm not worried about the people on the Falcons defensive line, so I don't think that's really that big of a mismatch at the end of the day. But where we do get in the mismatches is Baker Mayfield throwing to Mike Evans, Emeka Ibuka, Cade Otton, Jalen McMillan versus AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates, and I don't know who else they have out there. No one of note, like really. And I'll look it up. I'll be the good person and be like, oh, how could you forget about this Falcons defensive back? But I don't think I'm forgetting about any Falcons secondary players that I really need to be concerned about. Yeah, rookie Xavier Watts, rookie Billy Bowman. We'll see. We'll see. It's good that they're potentially starting. Yeah, their other cornerbacks, Mike Hughes. Don't need to worry about Mike Hughes. So I think that, yeah, the Bucs are going to kill them. And this Bucs defense is good. Their pass rush is good. Their Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey off the edge. It's a little bit of an unknown. They got Yaya Diaby. They have Hassan Reddick, who I've heard absolutely nothing about this entire offseason, but he's there. I like the secondary. I like the linebackers. They still need someone else other than Levante David, obviously, but this Falcons offensive line is now... That's been the big strength of this offense for the last few years when they've been going through quarterback woes. Is okay, at least their offensive line is solid. But last year they lose Drew Dahlman. Now they lose Caleb McGarry. And coming in for those guys, we have Elijah Wilkinson, sure. And Ryan Newsel, sure. I guess we'll just see how it goes. Again, I'm not big on the Falcons anyways. I'm not big on Michael Penix. I don't know what all the hype was about him when he started his 4 or 5 games last year. He was fine. He was okay. But again, when you were playing with that good of an offensive line with Bijan and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Darnell Mooney, I expected more flashes or more consistent plays, and it just wasn't there. He was playing like Drake May, but Drake May was throwing to me and you out there. So I don't have big expectations for Michael Penix whatsoever. I think the Bucs are easily going to win this game, so I'm taking them there. Next game up here, we have the Steelers at the Jets. Steelers minus 2.5. Total set at 38.5 for obviously good reasons. This is technically an Aaron Rodgers revenge game. Well, technically, I whatever. We'll see how that goes, but this is one of the matchups where I have no idea. I obviously think the Steelers are the more proven team in general. I mean, Mike Tomlin, we know that defense. We know Aaron Rodgers was, maybe still is, a pretty good QB at this point. But I kind of know what to expect from the Steelers. And it's going to be playing good defense. And then the rest is just, we'll see if the offense can do anything, really. The Jets, on the other hand, I have no fucking clue what to expect. I don't know what to expect on defense. I don't know what to expect on offense. Technically a Justin Fields revenge game, too. Double revenge game. Whoa. But I said it in my hot takes. I expect the Jets to run the fuck out of the football. And yeah, they're going to have a really, really tough first test. I'm interested to see how this offensive line holds up against this Steelers pass rush with TJ Watt and Highsmith and Hayward and Keanu Benton. And I think Derek Harmon is hurt, but I think he will be okay. I think he escaped an ACL injury, thankfully. But Jalen Ramsey obviously making his Steelers debut. Steelers defense is it's going to be good. Jets defense, it was good up until last year, and then they fired Robert Saleh, and then it really went downhill. But I don't know what to expect from Aaron Glenn. I don't know what to expect from the Jets in general. The Steelers are just the safer pick, but I wouldn't... Jets at home as an underdog, I kind of buy into it. I definitely buy into Aaron Glenn and what he's doing. It's just, this is going to be a very weird Week 1 matchup. There's a lot of weird Week 1 matchups where I don't really know which way they're going to go, but that's one of them. Next game up here, the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts minus 1.5, total set at 47.5. The fact that the Dolphins aren't favorites to win this game makes me mad, makes me sad, because I can't be mad about it, because the Dolphins have proven nothing since in Mike McDaniel's tenure with them, other than they're a soft team and they get bullied. And say what you want about the Colts starting quarterback, they don't have one, but the rest of the team is assembled really well. I like basically every other thing about the Colts team, except for the starting quarterback. And the quarterback is the most important position at the end of the day. So we'll see if Daniel Jones can nickel and dime us literally down the entire field, and Jonathan Taylor can be Jonathan Taylor. Very good test for this hopefully beefier front seven for the Dolphins, better run defense to go against Jonathan Taylor, one of the best backs in the league. But
Miami should win this one. Realistically, if Miami doesn't win this one, the season's already over. Season might be over already, but it's not, obviously. But we need to start off 1-0. If we don't beat the Colts, if we don't beat Daniel Jones, like, come on, what the fuck are we doing? Excited to watch Tyler Warren. Excited to watch Kenneth Grant. Excited to see if Tyreek Hill is still going to be a piece of shit or not. I mean, he is a piece of shit, but like piece of shit in the NFL world still, which I guess he probably is too. I don't know. Thankfully, our secondary probably won't get tested a ton because Daniel Jones just is allergic to pushing the ball down the field. So lots of checkdowns. Again, if we don't win this game, I don't know what we're doing. Daniel Jones should not be a starting QB. It is what it is. Again, I like this Colts team. I just think that the Dolphins have enough around them. I'm interested to see how Patrick Paul and Jonas Savanaia hold up. I have confidence in Miami. I like Achane. I think our offensive line can be like league average this year if Patrick Paul is like good. I have lots of faith in our defensive line anyway, so I'm optimistic, but if we don't win week 1, I am not optimistic at all for the season. Next game up here, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags minus 3.5, total set at 46.5. This was a game where I was like, I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking Carolina, and then the Jalen Coker news comes, and then the Ike Ekwonu news comes. And now here I am where I'm like, I guess I'm going to pick the Jaguars because they're the seemingly better team. Like on paper anyways, the Jags have the better players. If we're doing like a dude off, if we want to talk about like guys on Carolina, J.C. Horn, Derek Brown. That's kind of it. Like I can talk about Ike Ekwonu and like Robert Hunt, like the offensive lineman, but like it's harder when you're doing that. And then talk about the guys on the Jags, Brian Thomas Jr., Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, Foye Oluokun. I don't know. Maybe the dudes are similar, and I'm overthinking this, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of Carolina's starting offense potentially missing one of their tackles while also throwing to Tet McMillan, Xavier Leggett, and like Hunter Renfrow. It's not like a ton of confidence there. Like the Jags still, again, the Jags were a talented roster last year. It just wasn't, we didn't get to see any of it. I think Trevor Lawrence does have the juice, and now with BTJ and Travis Hunter, I mean, that's what I really should be talking about, is how much Travis Hunter is going to play on offense, how much Travis Hunter is going to play on defense, like what is he going to be, what is he going to look like. I'm very, very interested to see that myself, how the Jags run game is going to look, because I don't know who's their starting running back in general there. This is just kind of like an avoid game for me. I have no strong leans. I think that either team could easily win this game. I was much higher on the Panthers going into this week, but not anymore after the Coker and the Ike Ekwonu news. Next game up here, we have the Giants at the Commanders. Commanders minus 6.5, total set at 45.5. Now, I'm not going to be, because I think I did this last year, where I'm like, the Giants are going to win this one, because I think the Giants and Commanders played week 1 last year. They played early last year. Regardless, while the Commanders' offensive line is improved, it's still not great. Yeah, they had Laramie Tunsil, they have rookie Josh Connerly, that's great. The interior is pretty solid. But they're going against Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. It's a very tough opening test for them. And in general, I think that the Giants' defense is good. You've heard me talk about them already. They added to their secondary. And you know who didn't want to add to their weapons? The Commanders. They paid Scary Terry way too late. They brought in Debo, sure. Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, who cares? Zach Ertz going into year 46. But it's Jaden Daniels at the end of the day. But this is going to be a very good test for the Commanders, where I think the Giants could definitely surprise some people here, where their defense plays on fire and is able to shut down Jaden Daniels and limit his opportunities in the run game. And this Commanders defense, I don't have a lot of faith in too. And maybe Russell Wilson can do his Russell Wilson where, he'll throw his 2 moon balls a game and that'll be enough of a difference maker. I have no idea. But this game is like the Commanders are going to win, but this might be a closer game than people expect. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants win this one. Do I expect them to win this one? No. But their defense against this offense, really, it comes down to Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels can be an absolute hero, superhuman, which we've seen him do that before, yeah, the Commanders will probably win, but I don't know. I also don't think their defense is good, and I think that Russell Wilson is bad, but Malik Neighbors is there, and Malik Neighbors is really, really hard to stop. So we'll see how that goes, but this Giants defense I am excited to watch. Next game up here, Cardinals at the Saints. Cardinals minus 6.5. Total set at 43.5. This makes absolute sense. The Saints are absolutely terrible, and I believe in the Cardinals. If you listen to the hot takes, I think that the Cardinals are going to win this division. Do I really believe that wholeheartedly? No, not really, because I think that division is completely up for grabs, but I do like what the Cardinals have on paper, and especially on that defense. Jonathan Gannon finally has a defense to work with, and I'm excited to see what he does with the secondary and the defensive line, the players that they've added. The offense, too, where James Conner, Trey Benson, that run game was great last year. Second year of Marv, we'll see if he can get that connection going with Kyler, but him and Trey McBride, that's a very fun receiving duo there. They're going to win. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that the Cardinals are going to win this one. You want to know why? Because the Saints suck. The Saints are bad. They're bad on defense. They're bad on offense. They don't have a quarterback. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a fun year for them, but it's not going to be a fun anything for them. Like, really. I don't have a ton to say about this. Like, Spencer Rattler throwing to Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care about anything the Saints are going to do this year until proven otherwise. We can move on. Next game here, Bengals at Browns. Bengals minus 5.5. Total set at 47.5. The Bengals are going to win this, obviously. Let's just start there. The Bengals, despite all of their week 1 disaster classes over the last few years, the Bengals are going to win this. You want to know why? Because the Browns, like the Saints, bad team. Yeah, bad team. Pretty easy to say that. I don't really have to think too hard about it. Lots of moving pieces around on the Browns right now. I don't know who their RB1 is. Their Quinshon Judkins, who they drafted in round 2, still doesn't have a contract. Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, Cedric Tillman, like those are the receivers. Joe Flacco at quarterback, who I think he made his first start against the Bengals in 2008. So full 14 years later, here we are. 14 years? 17 years later. I was way off on that. Either way, the Browns aren't good. They have good players in certain spots, but just everything comes to get not good. Where I will give them maybe the benefit of the doubt is Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco. Does that mean he's good? No. But does that mean he's a seasoned vet quarterback who, yeah, I can believe in him in some spot starts, and hey, the Bengals defense is complete shit. Trey Hendrickson is back. That's great. The rest of it is complete shit. So if Myles Garrett and Mason Graham wreak some havoc and Denzel Ward is playing very good D against Jamar Chase or something, like, again, I'm not going to pick the Browns. I'm not going to talk you into even the Browns plus 5.5, but the Bengals are terrible week 1. And I think that that's all you really have to know. Next game up here, the Raiders at the Patriots. Patriots minus 2.5. Total set at 43.5. I'm definitely in this. This is a toss-up matchup, especially if Christian Gonzalez doesn't play. Something that just hasn't really been talked about, and especially from Chu, who, takes any time to mention the Patriots ever, hasn't brought up that their number one corner, their best player on their team, Christian Gonzalez, just hasn't practiced for the month and still isn't practicing as of this moment and is a question mark for week 1. So Gonzo plays, I think that the Patriots win. Gonzo doesn't play, now all of a sudden it opens things up just a little bit, because this is a Patriots D who I believe in, and they have good players, and Mike Vrabel and all that stuff, and yada yada yada. But this Raiders offense, this offensive line is pretty good. I'll leave it at that. Ashton Jeanty is Ashton Jeanty. He's a stud. They have Jacoby Myers. They have Brock Bowers. They got Geno Smith now, the best quarterback the Raiders have had in ever. Not ever, obviously, but like a long, long time. I think that the Raiders offense will be pretty good this year. So going against the Patriots week 1, it'll be a very good test to see where we go. And especially if Christian Gonzalez is out, good for them. They have Carlton Davis, but then that's still Jonathan Joseph and Marcus Jones, who are like Jonathan Joseph that was definitely trailing off last year. I think he's still there. Either way. Yeah, it'll be a really good test for both of these teams. And same thing, this new Patriots offense, Will Campbell. I think Max Crosby always lines up against the right tackle, so he'll be going against Morgan Moses. That's a tough task for Morgan Moses, but Will Campbell will still have his hands full with Malcolm Kuntz probably. The rest of that Raiders defensive line going against, again, a makeshift Patriots offensive line. We'll see who rises. We'll see who falls, I guess. A not very good Raiders defense in general, so this just means I think that Drake May will seemingly eat. Again, we'll see where Stephon Diggs is. We'll see where Hunter Henry still is. It's a lot of what-ifs on both of these teams. I have my expectations of where players and offenses and defenses should be, but we'll really find out after this game. I am picking the Patriots begrudgingly in this one because they are at home. I do think they have the better built defense, and I think Drake May is good enough. Then Drake May is what am I trying to say? I don't know. Drake May is good. This Raiders defense really isn't, other than Max Crosby. And again, prove me wrong otherwise, but as of this moment, the Raiders are not very good. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Niners minus 2.5. Total set at 43.5. This is an underdog that I am picking. Again, a home underdog. Seattle Seahawks. And it's not to say, I don't believe in the Niners. I do believe in the Niners, but just right now, their starting wide receivers are Ricky Pearsall, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, Jacob Cowing, Sky Moore. That's not good whatsoever. Ricky Pearsall, I believe in, and I think Juwan Jennings is trending to come back from his fake injury, and he'll probably get a contract at some point soon. But lots of moving parts over the offseason for the Niners. They lost, I think, 6 starters on defense, replaced them with a lot of young guys who they drafted last year, guys who they drafted this year. So we'll see how that defense works. Robert Saleh back in the building, and I think Saleh is a really good defensive coordinator. The Seahawks on the other side, their offense, I have no idea what to expect. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, I don't know how 2 slot players are going to work, but sure. They cut MVS, so I think Torrey Horton Jr. they're going to be their deep threat guy. AJ Barner, Elijah Arroyo at tight end, sure. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet at running back, sure. Offensive line should seemingly be better too, so this is a pretty good first test for them to go against, is this Niners defensive line, which is also very young and unproven other than Nick Bosa, obviously. Sam Darnold at quarterback, I haven't even brought up yet. The Seahawks offense, I have no idea. It could be great. It could be terrible. Nothing would shock me. Nothing would shock me about how Seattle's offense is going to be. Again, I think it could be top 5 in the league. I think it could be bottom 5 in the league. I have no idea how it's going to go for Seattle. Their defense, on the other hand, their defense is going to be great. And their defense is playing against a Niners team where their weapons are banged up at wide receiver, not Kittle and CMC, but that's banged up. And their offensive line is, other than Trent Williams, it's not that solid. They have Dominic Pooney, who I think was also banged up at some point too, but going against Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu, DeMarcus Lawrence, who I forgot was there too. They just got dudes. Mike McDonald is a stud. They got dudes in the secondary. I think I'm very excited for Seattle's defense to go against the Niners, and I think that they will shock some people early. Next game up here, we have the Tennessee Titans going against the Denver Broncos. Broncos minus 7.5, total set at 42.5. Very, very tough first game for rookie quarterback Cam Ward going against one of the best defenses in football. On the road, and last I checked, it was supposed to be raining on Sunday too. So, yeah, that sucks. That's really tough. But I guess no real buts. I good luck, Cam Ward. Good luck to the Titans. Good first tests for them though, because if their offense holds up at least like a little bit against the Broncos, then that means good things. Do I think that they will? No, I think they're going to get their absolute shit kicked in. Yeah, we'll see what this new offensive line looks like for them. J.C. Latham back on the right side, Dan Moore on the left side with Skronsky, Cushenberry, and Zeitler. We'll see. But this Broncos defense is incredible. Like, literally. Like, there's not a weak point on the entire Broncos defensive depth chart anyways, in my opinion. Maybe the Titans will find it. I doubt it. Offense, again, I don't have high expectations for the Broncos offense. I think it will kind of be slightly better than what they were last year, and last year was good enough for them. They made the playoffs. Bo Nix is still Bo Nix until he proves me otherwise. He is playing up to what I thought his ceiling could be, and that is a game manager, and he managed games very well last year. Now they don't really add anyone in on their offense other than like RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, so their run game should be improved from last year because it was not a good run game last year. Either way, the Broncos are going to kill them. Broncos defense versus Cam Ward. Exciting to see how Cam Ward does there, and if he looks pretty damn good, I think that's very good news for Titans fans. But I would expect a double-digit win from the Broncos. So I think Broncos minus 7.5, not a bad play. Next game up here, the Lions at the Packers. Packers minus 2.5, total set at 47.5. So I did all this talking about Micah Parsons and all this. Apparently he's might not play week 1. So apparently he's actually had some back injuries, might have an epidural like Matt Stafford did, so he could play. Not great news, obviously, with back injuries and getting an epidural before the season even starts, because that probably means you'll need that a few times during the season, which is always scary. But this is a true toss-up. Obviously the Lions are going through their own not even roster turnover. I mean, obviously a little bit of roster turnover, but more so coaching staff turnover. So we'll see how the new DC, who is their DC, because it's a former player who used to literally play for the Dolphins. It's not Terrell Austin. Ken Sheffield. Whatever. I'm not going to remember. It's going to come to me and it's going to bug me. And I should look it up, but I'm not going to look it up because we're almost at an hour, and I don't want to be at an hour. But obviously, new DC, new offensive coordinator. Let's see what they can do. Obviously, the Lions aren't super, super injured right now, and hopefully they can stay that way this season. Interested to see what Aiden Hutchinson, how he looks, because he was on an absolute tear to start last year. Interested to see what Marcus Davenport looks like. Either way, lots of things on the Lions that I'm excited about, how this new offense looks like. No Zeitler, no Ragnow, to see how the rookies Tate Ratledge and second-year player Giovanni Manu do. But yeah, they still got Jahmyr Gibbs. They still have David Montgomery. They still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still have Sam Laporta. They still have Jamison Williams. And now they have Isaac Tisslaw. Yeah, the Lions are still good. The Packers on the other, again, their offensive line is good. They got Josh Jacobs. They have a million wide receiver 2s and 3s, and maybe Matthew Golden can be their wide receiver 1 to really open up the offense. I have no idea. or defense, I'm a big fan of if Micah Parsons is playing. I'm iffy if he's not, but this should be a fun game. The NFC North is going to be a bloodbath the entire year. These divisional games mean a shit ton, even early on in the season. Next game up here, the Houston Texans at the LA Rams. Rams -2.5, total set at 43.5. This is another game where I have no idea what to expect. We have Matt Stafford, who has practiced a handful of times over the course of the offseason, who is also getting epidurals in his back and whatever junk science things that he was doing in that fucking chamber they gave him. But then it's Puka Nacua, it's Devontae Adams. Like, that's just so much fun to me. But that Texans defense is, again, like the Broncos defense. I think those are the two best defenses in the league. They'll both be incredible. That'll be a good matchup. And then on the other side, you get CJ Stroud with all of his new receivers, but without a running game right now because Joe Mixon is apparently dead and might not play the entire season, but also might play the season. I have no idea. And this offensive line, who we'll see how it looks, I guess. I think Jared Verse is going to have a big day in this one. I think Will Anderson's going to have a big day. This could be a defensive slugfest, but I'm interested to see if CJ Stroud can open up downfield a little bit, because if the Rams were weak at any point, it would be that secondary just a little bit. But I don't know. This is a very good matchup. I think this is a very good pace matchup. Does that make any sense for both of these teams? Where I expect both of these teams to be in the playoffs come the end of the year, but we'll see how they match up. Jared Verse and the Rams defensive line versus this bad Texans offensive line. The Texans defense in general, just going against the Rams offense, and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua should be a lot of fun anyways. Sunday Night Football now. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. Bills -1.5, total set of 50.5. Couldn't ask for a better week one Sunday night matchup. Just another complete toss-up game. I'm going with the Ravens in this one just because I do think the Ravens have the better offense and defense. I'm still unsure about the Bills' offense in general. Yes, they have a strong offensive line. Yes, Josh Allen is the quarterback. Yes, their run game is strong. The wide receivers and the weapons, it's just kind of like, okay, Khalil Shakir is really good. Someone needs to break out. Someone needs Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid. Someone needs to take their game to another level for this Bills offense anyways to truly take off a little bit. The Bills defense is the Bills defense. It's a strong unit until they play like a really good team, and then it's not very strong. But again, they have a lot of good players on it, and the Bills are going to make the playoffs. The Bills are going to be contending. Maybe it's their year. The Chiefs seem to always have their number. It is what it is. I mean, the Chiefs always have the Ravens' number too, but here I am talking about the Ravens. I don't know. The Ravens, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. I mean, the defense, their secondary is so good. Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Jair Alexander, Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, Roquan Smith, Namadi Matabuke, Travis Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Mike Green. Even though he's a bad person, I'm interested to see what he does. I'm just much higher on the Ravens. The Ravens started off, the Ravens lost to the Raiders early on in the season last year. So, obviously, anything can happen type deal. But, no, this is going to be a very good one. It's another game where, obviously, for picking purposes, and because I have to pick each game every week, I am picking the Ravens. But the Bills at home, obviously very, very tough to beat. This is a teams that should be playing each other in the divisional or in the AFC Championship this year. So I guess we will see. Very good matchup, though. And to close it out, Monday Night Football. This is truly, because at least, with the Ravens and the Bills, we kind of know what to expect from these two teams. They've been there. It's kind of mostly the same pieces they've had from the last couple of years. Vikings and Bears is... I have no idea what to expect. It could be a bloodbath either way. Or it could be a really, really close game. I have no idea. Or it could be the worst football game played between the two teams. Again, lots of different ways it could go, obviously. But it's the Vikings at the Bears. Vikings minus 1.5. Total set at 43.5. So we have Ben Johnson going against Brian Flores and his defense. And Ben Johnson has had Brian Flores' number basically every year when he was with the Lions. Like, he knows how to beat Brian Flores' defenses, and we'll see if he can continue that over with Caleb Williams. We'll see. Man, I've talked about this Bears offense, how I'm so excited that it's Caleb Williams throwing to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Colston Loveland and Luther Burden and Cole Kmet and yada, yada, yada. The run game, I have no idea who's really going to be. It's DeAndre Swift, obviously, but who's kind of going to be their goal line in between the tackles back? Is it Roshan Johnson? Is it Kyle Monangai? I've got no idea. We'll see Monday. The Vikings on the other side. A lot of new pieces in there. Iffy about the secondary. Iffy about J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. But I believe in Kevin O'Connell wholeheartedly. I believe in Brian Flores wholeheartedly when it comes to the defensive side of the ball and just doing what they do best. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how this matchup looks. We technically have first-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy going against this Bears defense, who the Bears defense hasn't been the issue over the last couple of years. They have now Dennis Allen as their defensive coordinator. I think Dennis Allen's a good defensive coordinator. Dog shit head coach, but he knows how to run a defense. And I think he has the guys on this defense to be able to give it a little zhuzh. I like the secondary. I like their front seven. The Vikings on the other side, they beef up their offensive line. They add Donovan Jackson. They add Will Fries. They add Ryan Kelly. Basically, their entire interior offensive line dramatically improved. They still have Brian O'Neill. They still have Christian Darrisaw. Christian Darrisaw doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion anyways, as one of the better left tackles in the league. And obviously, Justin Jefferson banged up, but he's still Justin Jefferson. No Jordan Addison in this one, so they'll have TJ Hawkinson as probably a big facilitator, big word for me anyways, to help out JJ McCarthy. Like, I'm on the Bears in this one. The Bears are at home. Ben Johnson typically has Brian Flores' number. J.J. McCarthy, without all of his weapons, going against a good Bears defense. Yeah, I think the Bears are going to win this one. Again, it will be close. I don't know. It's a very good Week 1 slate. I'm very, very excited. I can't wait for the season. But yeah, that is the episode. I said I was going to talk about a little bit of MCFT and kind of my first day at school. So, and honestly, scheduling for the podcast, because I found out today, so they gave out the schedules, and basically my schedule is 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. I am going to be busy, 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 and a lot of that is field work and doing like stuff like that. It's not just all classroom, because that would have been absolutely terrible. But yeah, it's 8 to 5 every single day. Normally during the season, I do 2 episodes a week. I do the Tuesday show where I record on Monday, and then I record on Thursday, to get out the Week 1 picks, and I do my blind recap and blah, 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 blah. So that's still the plan as of right now. But again, I'm going to be busy. Very busy, apparently. I didn't expect to be this busy. I thought it was going to be like a college where, I'd have a morning off or I'd have an afternoon off. And this also kind of ruins my plans, because this brings me to my other point where going through all of those Week 1 matchups and seeing, start time, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5:30, 9:30. That sucks. I absolutely hate that. So now instead of games ending around like 11 for me, they're going to be ending around midnight. And if my classes start at 8 a.m., thankfully I'm only a 5-minute drive away. It's not a lot of time of sleeping for me. But obviously I'm still probably going to watch 90% of the games anyways. I don't know. It'll probably be a different season. A little bit of a different season for me this year. We'll still be good, great regardless. Day 1 of school was good. At lunch, it was like weird though, because got separated into the groups, and I got 2 guys who come over and they sit with me. Whatever. We start chatting, and one of the guys who I could clearly tell was like an older guy, like me, an older guy. Fucking put that in air quotes. Where he gets to talking, and then I forget how old he said he was, but he said he graduated high school in 2007. And then I go like, oh, I graduated in 2015. And then the other guy was, oh, I graduated, like, I'm, like, fresh out of high school. So he was born in 2007, so I'm 10 years older than him, which is just crazy, while also that other guy graduated high school the same year that most of the people in our class are born. Absolutely nuts. Should be a lot of fun, though. I'm going to kick ass on the lumberjack team or the woodsman team or whatever you call it, but I will end the episode here. As always, if you have liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff, and until next time, peace.